Hi friends, it's Try It Tuesday. Welcome back. This is Angie Hernandez from the Indiana Hypnosis Center, where bad habits don't have to be forever. Get rid of those bad habits with hypnosis and me. Hey, today on Try It Tuesday, excuse me, allergies today. On Try It Tuesday, I have a great interview that I did in March with my friend Lisa from New Zealand, and I didn't know quite where to post it, and I'm going to post it on Try It Tuesday because Lisa has a great story of her life. At this point in her life, she kind of sold everything she owned and quit her job, took off from New Zealand, and is just traveling the world. And she's been posting a lot of pictures on Facebook. We've been enjoying it. And she's been staying with some mutual friends, some people that I don't know. And she's seen parts of the U.S. that I haven't even seen. So it's so cool to watch her. And she talks to me a little bit about why she decided, after a really safe type of life, to try it and go for it. Now, yesterday on Motivation Monday, our meditation was about taking action. Lisa has taken action and is taking action, and she's so happy. You can just see it in her. This interview, like I said, was in March, and today she's, let's see, I'm not sure if she's traveling today, but over the weekend she was in Vancouver in Canada. And the next place, I believe, she's going to be flying down to Kentucky. She'll be in Kentucky and Tennessee for a little while. So she's kind of going a little bit too far to see me this trip, but maybe on another trip. And she's going to go to New York. I believe she's going to Europe after that for a bit, and then she's going to come back. I don't know what else she's going to do. She's been in Montana. She's been out on the ranch. She's just been doing everything. It's so great. All right. Nevertheless, let's go on to the interview, and I'll see you in a moment afterwards. Okay, here's Lisa. So Lisa, we've never met in person.
No, and we must remedy that one day.
Yeah, we've been Facebook friends. How long do you think we've been friends?
I'm guessing it must be about 4 years.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, because it's been, 4, maybe even 5 years since we did that course with Nick Ortner.
Yes. The way we met was, we took a course, a tapping course, and some of us got along so well that we split off and we made our own group.
Our own little group, it's just become an absolute wonderful resource.
Yeah.
We fully support each other, and I'm actually getting to meet some of them.
That's so exciting. I so wished I could have been part of that. But I had a tough year last year, and I'm financially, I'm still paying for that. I was still paying for that, so I wasn't able to this year. But maybe if you decide and you end up staying in Chicago for a few days, maybe we meet
I'll swing by, definitely. Yeah,
because that would be fun. I could get a little for a little while. So we met in this Facebook group that was attached to a tapping course, and some of us liked each other, and we broke off into a private group on Facebook. And knowing how those groups go, I kind of expected it to peter out, in a couple of months, maybe a year. But here 4 years later, there's a core group of us.
Yeah, and we are just absolutely firm friends.
We are.
Yeah.
We are firm.
Yeah.
Through bad times, good times. Sometimes we go off privately and help each other. I've worked with Bernie a few times.
Yeah.
I worked with Gwen one day I'm a hypnotherapist. It wasn't with hypnosis. She couldn't figure out YouTube, so I was trying to help her with that. And we try to be supportive.
It's a great space. It really is.
Yeah. I really love how we've stayed friends.
Totally, yeah.
Post a lot. Sometimes we post less, but that's all right. And some of the ones that aren't on anymore, I kind of miss. I miss Anne.
Yeah, yeah, yes, but she hasn't been on there now for what, 18 months?
At least. And I did
Mm,
some sessions with her for a while. It was really
mm.
funny. A couple of months ago, she popped up on a private message to me about something I was posting. She couldn't see it. And that's the first I'd heard of her in all that time.
Right,
But she didn't want to chat or anything. So I don't really know what's going on with her. But
no.
it's kind of amazing that we've stayed a group of friends, international. Lisa, you need to say your name and a little bit about yourself because the people I'm going to be sharing this with don't know you.
Right. Well, I'm Lisa. I am from Wellington in New Zealand. And as Angie said, you know, we met through this wonderful Facebook group that was part of a tapping course that we did. And yeah, and I've been through a whole lot of changes in my life recently, which have now seen me basically pack up everything or get rid of everything, virtually everything I own, and start traveling the world
And so
and living my dream.
you had a vision, and like very few people do, you went out and did it. So you're from New Zealand, but tell everybody where you're sitting, where you are right now.
Right at this point in time, I am sitting in the gorgeous village of Oak Creek in Sedona, and I absolutely love it here. I've been up to Bell Rock several times and just sat and meditated, and I know absolutely nobody, other than the people that I know through Facebook. I don't really know anybody in the States. And here in Oak Creek, I've actually been really fortunate in that I'm house sitting for a Facebook friend, somebody else I've never met in person. And so I'm house sitting for her, looking after their pet fish and watering the garden. And their next door neighbour, Carolyn, has been taking me around. And yesterday we went up to Jerome and spent the whole day wandering through the wonderful town of Jerome, which is an old mining town. And the other day, another Facebook friend connected me with some friends that she knows here in Oak Creek, and it turns out they live just 5 blocks down the road.
Yeah.
And so they took me to the Chapel of the Holy Cross and then around to see Cathedral Rock, and then took me out for dinner. And it was one of those connections, you know, we instantly connected, just an instant bond. And so I've made 2 new friends or 3 new friends since I've been here. It's amazing.
It's really beautiful. And had you never started on this journey?
Yeah. If somebody had said to me 12 months ago that I'd be sitting here in Sedona, I would have gone, what? Where? What you talking about?
How could I even think of doing that?
Exactly. And in fact, Sedona wasn't even on my radar. And I wanted to go to Maui. But whenever I tried to organize it, the flights were really expensive, or I couldn't get accommodation, or there were just all these little roadblocks.
Yeah.
And I'm going, and my flatmate Liz said to me, she said, I don't think you're meant to go to Hawaii. And I went, no. I went, but I want to go somewhere where I can do a bit of a retreat kind of thing. And she said, Sedona, you need to go to Sedona. And I'm going, okay, what is this place? So good old Google. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I've got to go there. I've got to go there. I've just got to go there.
Yeah.
And so I got in touch with my travel agent, and she managed to tack on from, at that stage I was just looking at flying into Los Angeles, and she could tack on the flight to Phoenix for an extra $100.
Yeah.
And so it became a no-brainer. And I'm learning to just trust in things, because 3 weeks ago, I had nowhere to stay in Sedona. But I figured I was being pulled here. And so I was meant to be here. And I thought, okay, it's going to happen. Something is going to pop up. It's going to fall into place. Just trust. And sure enough, it was about 10 days before I was due to leave. Millie said to me, hey, are you still coming to Sedona? Because she knew I'd been talking about it. And if you are, can you house sit for us? We have to go back home to Ohio. And I said, sure, no problem.
I can't stop smiling because you're just so great and so wonderful.
And when I landed in Phoenix just after midnight, and I'd booked a cheap hotel for the night. And the next day I'm going, okay, I've got to get myself to Sedona. Oh, actually, it was when I was at Phoenix Airport that while I was waiting for my bags to come out of the carousel, I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to get myself up to Sedona? And here's the sign, Arizona shuttles, Phoenix to Sedona. And it's like, perfect.
That's perfect.
So in the morning, I got myself back to the airport and found out how much it was going to cost to do the shuttle thing. And I went, oh yeah, that's okay. I can handle that. And that cost me, I think it was what, $50 something. It came out to $88.84, I think it was, Kiwi. And I just had to grin at the 888 angel number.
Yeah, that's perfect. You always see the numbers, you know, and I don't much, but the last few days I have been seeing repetitive numbers like that. So I'm like, I must be on the Lisa wavelength. I don't know what that means.
Well, 888 means that the universe supports you.
I think I've seen like 151 is what I'm seeing. Like,
yeah. If you see the same number several times, then it's a message for you.
I've seen that combination a few times, which was like, surprised.
Yeah. And so anyway, I have ended up in Sedona. The fact that I have no transport doesn't bother me. And like I say, things are just falling into place. I have a couple of days where I'll sit at home and I will do some work and things like that, like today, and join webinars and things. But then other days I will actually go for a walk up to Bell Rock. And by the time I get back, I've generally been gone about 3 hours, and it's just a really pleasant walk, and yet it doesn't feel like I've been out for 3 hours. Yeah. And Millie's got bikes here, so I've started to bike around. And then, like I say, every once in a while, Carolyn from next door will take me somewhere. And she makes sure that, you know, if I need groceries, you know, she's quite happy to run me down to the shops and things like that. And then, like I say, I've just got these new friends over just 5 blocks over the way.
Well, I actually have another Facebook friend, someone I haven't met, but I correspond with quite a bit in Sedona, but I haven't heard from her for a few days. So I kind of think she might be traveling. So I didn't mention it because I'm not sure if she's home.
Right.
Yeah. I thought, well, if you do make it up to Flagstaff, turn you on to a couple of my friends up there. We lived there 15 years. We lived in Las Vegas first for 2 years.
Oh, right.
Yeah. My friend has birds too that lives in Sedona.
All right.
And a bird.
That's actually the clock.
That might drive me a little crazy. But she has a real bird. She talks about her bird a lot.
Right.
But so, yeah, you're in my old stomping grounds. I so miss it. Those pictures you're showing are great. I mean, I came back to Indiana because there was a good job opportunity for my husband, and my mother's house was changing.
Right.
I figured she would be needing me, and she does. But that was my chosen home. I love it.
To regularly. Yeah, it's just got an amazing feel to it, wonderful energy. So, and
there's a lot of opinions about the vortex, aren't there?
Well, I don't know what exactly that is, but I know that the times that I have sat and meditated at Bell Rock, my meditations have been a lot more intense.
Mhm.
They've been very vivid. The first one just absolutely blew me away. And my friend Jason had suggested that what I should do is perch myself on a rock, cross my legs, which I don't normally do. And he says, and very slowly chant 9 times. And so I did that. And I could certainly feel this energy in the base of my spine. I had my eyes closed, and I saw this really, really intense red, just this red light, absolutely intense. And then animals started appearing, and just in this light. And at first I saw a deer, and then I saw a hawk, and then I saw a snake. And I'm sitting there going, wow, this has never happened before.
Did they give you a message?
No, maybe I wasn't listening hard enough.
Or you can ask. Uh,
Yeah.
When I do hypnosis and do kind of a similar thing like you're describing, we call that a discovery journey. And I tell the person that's in hypnosis now, you have a bowl in your hand, go up to the creature and ask them to give you a message or give you an object. And usually it'll be in the form of an object of some kind, and they put it in the bowl. And then I tell them, ask them what that means. And you'll get
Okay.
So maybe next time, if that happens again, you could do that and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
That's wonderful.
See ya, I'm going to Bell Rock now. See ya.
Can't wait. You just can't wait. I mean, in Flagstaff too, I mean, the altitude, because we were at 7,000 feet, a little higher altitude than where you are.
Yeah.
And in the altitude and the air and just everything, I'm like you, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel different there than any place else I've been. And I've traveled a little bit.
Right.
I immediately felt at home there.
Right.
The first time we visited. And
yeah. I certainly felt like I'd come home when I arrived on Tuesday last week. Yeah, I've been here a week. You and I arrived last week. There was just something comforting about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt that way too.
Mm.
We lived in Las Vegas and we were looking for a place to settle. I didn't want to stay there. And a lot of people where I worked talked about Flagstaff. And so we came up for a weekend to check it out. And just as we drove in the huge pine forest, I just like, whew, I could breathe.
Yeah.
That's where I wanted to be. Yeah. It's really great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't afford Sedona though. And I don't think I could anymore afford Flagstaff.
Right.
It was pricey before, but now it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I grabbed a real estate magazine to have a look through and wondered at some of the prices, and I found one in there for $13.5 million.
Yeah. And that
but yeah, a lot of them are in that 1 to 1.5 mil.
Yeah. And that's probably kind of a lower average house. Probably here where I am, which is some of the lower priced houses in the nation. You could get a big old mansion for that price.
Yeah.
But not there.
Yeah.
Just be an average house.
But a lot of them seem to, and I don't know the area very well, which doesn't particularly help, I guess. But some of them there were quite a few in that $500,000 to $1 million. And there was the odd one that was just under the 500,000.
And that's probably a fixer-upper.
Yeah. No, they looked okay. They looked perfectly fine to me.
Yeah, it's quite expensive there.
Mm.
Now when you head to Las Vegas, you'll see very affordable prices there.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't enjoy, actually, you're there at a perfect time of year. I don't really enjoy it when it's very hot. Las Vegas is much too hot for me. I feel ill when it's too hot.
Right.
But
Yeah.
where you are this time of year would be perfect for me.
Okay.
But Las Vegas stays very reasonable because they have they're so huge now. Oh, so much bigger than when we lived there. Been a long
Right.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm only going to Vegas because I want to go to the Hay House U Live event.
Yeah.
But then I also figure, well, hey, spend a couple of extra days because you've got to do the Vegas thing.
Well, sure. You're close enough. You should.
Yeah.
I'll be there in August, which is a terrible time of year to go, but I'll just stay in the hotel. I won't
Hell.
go out.
Yeah.
It's conference time for me.
Right.
But I wanted you to talk a little bit about how you got this far. Where were you maybe a year ago or a little more where you suddenly decided, I'm going to make this big, huge change?
A year ago, this time last year, I was married. We'd been married 30 years. And I didn't actually realize it at the time, but I was actually very unhappy. And for a long time, I know I'd certainly felt stuck, and I wanted to improve our lives because we'd had financial troubles. Our finances never seemed to get better, and we actually went through a stage where we had a double income mortgage and we were suddenly both unemployed.
Wow.
And so that put a whole lot of stress on things.
Yeah.
And trying to recover from those mortgage arrears, was very stressful. But I'd also been the one in our relationship to do everything. And it seemed like it was my job to fix it. And I tried all the things that I thought I could do. And it was about that time I think I started to delve into this whole world of energy medicine, but not actually knowing what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And my first
So you're having kind of a crisis in your marriage and financially.
Yeah.
What sent you to the energy work?
I really do. What it was, yeah, I remember now. What it was, of course, I'd heard about the Tapping World Summit and thought, this sounds interesting. Don't know anything about it. So listened to a number of the interviews. And then a few months later, Nick advertised his 7 weeks to financial success and personal fulfillment. And I thought that was going to be the magic bullet that would fix all our problems. And because that was in the July, and that, I think at that stage, I guess this shows how desperate I was. I think that was at the time when we weren't working, and so we were falling more and more behind on our mortgage. And I saw this as a magic bullet to help fix things. So I got out the credit card, and of course Nick was doing it as a monthly payment thing.
Yeah.
To make it affordable.
Yeah.
And I had thought, oh great, 7 weeks to financial success. Yay! All my problems will be solved in 7 weeks. And and so of course there was the frustration that didn't actually happen, that it didn't show me the money.
Yeah.
But it did start me down this path of really looking at myself, doing a lot more work on myself. And I had a life coach prior to that, who again had helped me with this journey. At that stage, it was helping me with my network marketing business. But also her coaching also took in some of the life, looking at your life and your tribe and things like that. But anyway, I got started on this journey with tapping and stuff. And of course, through that course, I met you and amazing people like Charlotta, who lives in Montana. And her and I bonded instantly. She's my sister from another mother.
I haven't heard from her for a while.
No, she's been so busy lately. Things have been really hectic on the ranch. And she introduced me to Christy Sheldon and her Love or Above program.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And so that's and it's only recently that the penny has dropped that, oh, this is energy healing that she does.
Yeah.
Duh.
Well, there's so many kinds of energy work, and
there is, yeah.
It has so many different faces. But it is.
It does, yeah. And then, so I did that, and of course I kept tapping. We both actually ended up working again. My brother stepped in to help us with our mortgage arrears, and so he gave us a loan. So it meant that we could actually sell the house on our terms, not the bank's. And so we eventually sold the house, moved into a rental. We must have not been friends now for more than 4 years.
Has it been more than 4 years? It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember those events, but I don't remember what year that was.
Yeah.
Things were pretty desperate everywhere. I know you were in
Yeah. And it was certainly about the time of the global financial crisis.
Yeah, it was. Things were really bad here in the U.S.
Yeah.
If that hadn't been a payment program, I never could have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was definitely at that time. But yeah, Chris hasn't worked now for 5 years, so.
Oh, he didn't get work again?
Yeah, we both got jobs, and then he got laid off, and he hasn't worked since. And not quite sure of his motivations or anything. And of course, I'd try and encourage him to do something to bring income into the house. So for the last 5 years, I've been the sole breadwinner. So more and more was being dumped on me, and I'd been doing everything anyway. And it's only been recently when I sit back and reflect that I realised just how much, now that I'm actually out of it, I can see more.
Yes.
And we had a Cocker Spaniel who was the absolute love of my life. And she taught me so many valuable lessons, that girl. And she taught me about unconditional love. She taught me that I had way more patience than I ever thought I had. And she got sick, and the day before, we'd taken her to the vet for her I'd taken her to the vet for her annual checkup, and she'd basically passed with flying colours. The vet thought she might have had a touch of arthritis setting in, because she was certainly slowing down, and every so often she'd grizzle when she'd give her a boost up onto the couch. And 2 weeks later, she asked Chris, this was during the day when I was at work, she asked Chris for a boost up onto the couch. And so he gave her a boost, and she snapped. And she grabbed hold of his hand, would not let go, and just growled and snarled at him the whole time. And this was just so out of character for her, completely out of character. And the next day I had a migraine, and I am convinced that that was not, there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
And even through my haze, I could see that she was not well. And I was the one that took her to the vet in the afternoon. I had a migraine, I still had to drive, I still had to take her to the vet. And of course, so I'm not feeling very well, and the vet is going through all these different options with me, which ranged from doing absolutely nothing, through to invasive surgery, through to, is it time to let her go?
What did he feel was wrong?
She had no idea. She thought, she said if it was arthritis, it was the most aggressive case of arthritis she'd ever seen. By the Saturday morning, Phoebes couldn't stand, and so we made the painful decision to let her go. Because by the time I left the vet on the Friday, she was dosed up on tramadol and 2 other very strong painkillers. And by Sunday night, she was obviously in so much pain that we knew we'd made the right decision. And the only time Chris went to the vet with me was when we let her go. And Mum came with us as well. So I was always the one to walk her. I was always the one to feed her. I was always the one to take her to the vet.
Yeah.
And then 5 months later, he decides that he's seen this cute little Jack Russell Terrier on Facebook on the SPCA page, and he wants to adopt her. And I'm going, no, I do not want another dog. I am not ready for another dog. Oh, but she's so cute, I want her, blah, blah, blah. And I get, okay, fine, but she's your dog. You look after her. And so we go to the SPCA. He falls absolutely in love with her. We take her home. And you can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Guess who fed her? Guess who walked her? Guess who took her to the vets?
Yeah.
And that became, or that had become, the pattern where I took care of absolutely everything.
It gets old.
Yeah, yeah. And then about this time last year, Bernie Bowman put me on to Alicia Hartzell in Tweetran, and Alicia Hartzell does theta healing.
Oh, okay.
And so I got a series of meditations from her, and it was there was seven of them, and initially you did one a day over 7 days. And I got to the point where I had them downloaded onto my phone, and I would just go to sleep with them running right through the night. And I got to the 1st of May. The 1st of May 2016. It's a day that I will never forget. I call it the day I woke up. A friend had suggested that I take up bike riding because I'd been complaining that my fitness levels were really bad, and I couldn't walk probably about 6 or 8 blocks downhill to the bus without getting puffed from work. And it annoyed the it was really annoying me. So he suggested that I take up bike riding. And I thought, God, I haven't been on a bike in 30 years. I used to love biking when I was younger. So I borrowed Mum's bike. And it was my second time out on the bike that day. And I was cycling along and I was present. I was there in the moment. I felt the wind on my face, the sun on my skin. I heard the tyres as they scrunched over the gravel. And nothing mattered. I was just right there. And I suddenly realised that I had way too much self-respect to stay in what had become a very unbalanced relationship.
Yes.
And I started talking about this to my friend. There was just something about him that made me open up to him in a way that I hadn't to anybody in an incredibly long time. And he's looking at me very skeptically going, oh yeah, right. Come on, you don't want out of this marriage. And there were times when he would really get in my face and go, you really don't want out of this marriage. You aren't capable of change. And one day he made me so mad, I actually hit him. Which I guess in a way was a good thing because it meant that he was actually getting a response.
Yeah. He spurred you
I
on.
was,
Spurred you on to
yeah.
really face the truth that was deep inside.
Totally. And then I just got to this point where I just absolutely knew in my core I couldn't stay. I just couldn't stay any longer. That I had to leave. And that stuckness that I had thought, was external in terms of going to work, going to work, being up for 10, 12 hours a day, going to work.
Making a living.
Making a living, yeah. That stuckness wasn't there. It was actually in me.
Yes.
And so I managed, I don't quite know how, but I managed to communicate to Chris that I wanted out. And I couldn't explain it to him. Even now, I don't know that I can entirely explain it to myself, let alone anybody else. But I just got to this point where I had to get out. And within 2 months, he decided that he would be the one to move out. Because he wasn't working, it made sense for him to go flatting with a friend, whereas I could at least afford to stay where I was. And so he moved out. I mentioned in a little Facebook group that I had going at the time that only had 5 members that my marriage was ending and that I was going to be wanting, I was going to need somewhere to go. And Liz stuck her hand up and said, look, you can come and live with me and you can bring Maggie.
Oh, so you kept the dog too.
So yeah, I ended up with the dog, which wasn't supposed to be my dog.
Right.
And in the 12 months that we'd had her, at that stage it was just over 12 months, I hadn't bonded with her. And I had thought that she would go with him because she was his dog. And he's going, oh, no, but you're the one that walks her, you're the one that feeds her, you're the one that takes care of her, you're the one. So anyway, yeah, Liz said, look, you can come and live with me and bring Maggie. Because Liz has got 2 Australian Kelpies.
Oh.
And she knew that the 3 dogs would just get on absolutely fine. I gave Chris the car because I was capable of getting myself if I didn't have a car, it was no big deal, whereas for him it would be because he does have mobility issues. And So, and then my brother says, well, look, we've got a third car sitting here at the moment that's doing nothing. You can use it until you get yourself sorted.
Nice.
And so just all these things just started falling into place.
Yes.
And even the car that I ended up buying, I had thought I wanted this car over here. And I kept getting roadblocks put in the way. And I actually ended up with a car that was better than what I wanted.
You probably didn't even think you deserved that car. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then
within yourself that I don't have to stay in this unhappy rut, everything now began to come to you.
yeah, literally everything started to come to me. And so I moved in with, I spent 2 months living on my own, and then I moved in with Liz. And at that stage it was just, well, I'm just living with Liz until I get things sorted. At that stage, everything went into a storage unit, and I was paying for the storage unit, and I had 90% or 95% of our stuff. So I was paying for the storage, and we eventually got to a point where we did actually split the stuff and come to, our whole split has been completely amicable. We're still friends. We still chat on Facebook and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we split our stuff, and I'm paying, I downsized to a smaller unit, and I start talking, I talked about doing a trip overseas and heading to the States to actually meet some of these wonderful Facebook friends that I've got. And initially it was going to be 3 weeks, then it became 3 months, and then it went back to being about 3-4 weeks again, and then it went back out to being 3 months, and then I suddenly realised, stuff it. Why don't I just go? I know I'm being pulled to the States and Canada and maybe Europe. Why don't I just go? So I handed in my resignation at work.
Wow.
I gave them 3 months notice. I only had to give 1 month, but I gave them 3 months because some of my work colleagues I only see 2 or 3 times a year because they're out in the field.
Mm.
And so they only come into town or into Wellington, 2 or 3 times a year, and the rest of the time they're other parts of the country. And November we had our Christmas function, so I thought, well, I'd like to be able to tell these guys in person.
Yeah.
I also knew that we'd just transitioned across to a new financial package at work. I was the accountant, and I didn't feel it was fair to have somebody come in and cover a gap until a new person started.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I thought it gives them time to get a new person in place, and then that way I can train them.
Yeah.
And so I gave them 3 months notice, and then I decided, okay, where am I going? And the universe has obviously decided I'm going to spend 2 months in the southeast of France.
Wow.
Because I've managed to get a house sit in the southeast of France. So my evenings at the moment are spent learning French.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And at the moment, I am just literally trusting where I need to go.
The truth is, probably if you ask for a little letter of recommendation from where you're house sitting, you could probably hop from house sit to house sit.
Yeah. I was going to ask Millie for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So if someone else is thinking, I feel really, I can relate to her What would you suggest? What do you think someone should do if they're starting to think they may want to change their life in a big way?
Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, just do it.
Oh, at the time, I had people telling me that I had so much courage and I was so brave doing this.
I bet you were scared to death.
A, I was scared to death. B, I was also going, there's nothing brave or courageous about this. I've let the team down. You know, I've just walked away from almost 31 years of marriage. You just don't do that, you know. And so for about 2 or 3 months there, I really felt bad. I felt I'd let the team down. I felt like I'd failed. I felt like,
I think at one point I remember you saying that someone commented to you, but they're just Facebook friends. They're not real friends.
oh, oh yes, oh God, yes, yes. I had 2 people tell me that my Facebook friends and my work colleagues were not real friends. They didn't love me. They didn't care about me. They were not my real friends. And so this became a running joke about all my non-friends. And the interesting thing was, I learned that my work colleagues were absolutely real friends, because at that time, they absolutely stepped up to the plate. My Facebook friends stepped up to the plate. I had so much support and encouragement for what I was doing that I soon learned that my non-friends were absolutely my real friends. I had 2 or 3 work colleagues. If I needed to bawl my eyes out for 10 minutes straight, and I did this several times, I could grab a box of tissues and just howl. Absolutely howl.
It's so wonderful, though, to have someone to do that with.
Yeah. And that's the downside to Facebook friends, is that they're not there physically in person. It's because they're not there in person doesn't make them any less friends. No, because the support I got from the girls in the A's and other groups I belong to. I mean, for God's sake, my flatmate, I met Liz on Facebook.
Well, it's not like we just, friended you today and we're coming to our house tomorrow. We've really known each other for years. And I think the thing that people might not realize is that this little group of ours, we've shown our true colors by supporting each other through a lot of issues. And
we have.
Some people in our group didn't cut it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a serial killer that signed on to be your friend today. Because I figure that's who they are. I get a few of those every day, men that, I spam them out.
Yeah.
We've supported each other for a long time.
We have. We absolutely have. And whenever I think about going to see these people, they're women. To be fair, they are all women.
Mm-hmm.
And stay with them and their families, their husbands and their families. I just get this bubble of joy.
Yeah.
This absolute bubble of joy. And I can't wait to get to meet Eliana and Chris and Donnie and Rod and Jason and Emily and
anyone else you could. I so wish I could put you up. I'm not in my own house, so I'm not able to, but it's
but I know too that eventually I will actually get to meet. It is my intention to at some point meet everybody in the A's.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? You're gonna have to go to England to meet a couple of them.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah, Coral's in England.
Coral's in England, yes. Some aren't they?
Yeah.
Think.
Yeah.
Trying to think who all's left, and I can't think anymore. I'll have to actually look and see where everyone is.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should put up a big map.
That's what we need to do. We could change our cover art because it's been up there a long time.
Yeah.
Put a map and put the little dots where
dots where we all are.
we'd have the dots where we live, and then the Lisa Eden
Triangle. Yeah.
Well, what I was
Yeah.
writing about, I was writing about don't just dream about things. Make some of those dreams come true.
True.
Why not?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done a lot of things in my life because I didn't want to just sit still and let life pass me by. And I'm sure glad I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've said a lot lately that, and that of everything that's happened in the last just under 12 months, I regret nothing. I absolutely regret nothing that has happened to me in that since May. I regret nothing, not a bean. It's taken me so far out of my comfort zone that I'm actually almost getting used to being out of my comfort zone.
Starting to feel like the new normal.
Yeah, it is very much starting to feel like the new normal, that I don't need to know what's around the corner. There are days when my ego brain steps in and that fear comes in and goes, how are you going to do this? How are you going to pay the bills? How are you going to...
You don't have a plan. Why don't you have a plan? But you can plan a little bit for comfort, but it's so great when, like you said about the car, when something even better than you imagined is given to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And one of the biggest comments I've been getting is how much I've grown, how much I've blossomed since my separation. Yeah. That I have really just bloomed. I'm looking happier. My boss was really worried about me this time last year because I looked grey, I looked drawn, I looked like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. And he said, you look at you now and it's a completely different person.
You've let the weight go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even on some of my Facebook posts, my cousin has commented, just one of her comments was, wow, look at that smile. I haven't seen a smile like that in years.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, a number of people have commented about just how much happier I am.
You start to think, I really am that happy, but boy, what did they see in me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's only, again, as I said earlier, it's only been since I've been out that I've been able to look back and see what other people were seeing that was wrong.
Yeah.
And my friend that was the final, I guess in a way he was the catalyst. He wasn't the first person to point out to me that things were wrong. But I had to get to a point where I was ready to listen and ready to take action.
Yes. Yes. I think way back when, like you, for me, the tapping was the beginning of a journey that I never expected.
Yeah.
If you put me back into that moment before I started with the tapping and showed me the way my life has made a turn, I'd be astounded.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is no way 12 months ago I would have seen myself sitting here in Sedona and with airline tickets to Vegas, Boulder, San Diego, Calgary, Vancouver, Kentucky, Dublin, London, Leeds at least. At this stage, I've got my travel sorted to the middle of June.
Awesome. So awesome.
And I know that, and I've got a 7-week gap from the middle of July till the beginning of September where I don't quite know where I'm going to be.
It'll come.
But I'm not worried about it. I know, ideally I'd like to still be in England. I'd like to be in the UK for that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I will be. But I've got no attachment to where in the UK. And then I've got this 2 months in France.
Well, I think what you're headed for is you're going to start a blog and write about this whole journey.
Oh, totally. I know I have to. And I also know that one of the things I want to, that at some point I've got to start telling my story, and I want to become a speaker.
Yes.
An inspirational speaker, because I know this story needs to be told.
Yes.
And again, one of the things that I never ever dreamt I would ever do was I joined Toastmasters.
I saw that you did that. That was awesome. And you did great.
Yeah.
And
I managed to, and when I'm up there speaking, yeah, I've got nerves for the first couple of 3 minutes, but it feels like the most natural thing in the world to me.
Yes. That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah.
I think if my life took a turn, if I was alone again, I would definitely take the hypnosis and the speaking and put them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right now I'm not in a place where I can travel, but because I care for my mom, but at some point, she's 90 now.
Right.
When she passes on, then my life will change again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The speaking's great. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just something about it, isn't there? That's just great.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's so great. It's been so great to see you come to this point on your journey. And I don't even know all the things that are ahead for you because I don't think you know.
No, I don't know either.
At what point do you have kind of a rough idea when you'll go back home, when you go to New Zealand again?
No idea.
Well, my friend in Flagstaff, if you got up there, I was going to have you meet up with her. They have an only child. They have a daughter, and she's married a person from New Zealand, and she's lived there and raised her family there now many years.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't remember anymore which city she's in, and they've gone and visited. They have 2 grandchildren with her. I was kind of surprised they didn't move there to be closer to her, but they haven't. But yeah, so maybe there'll come a return trip. You'll be able to go to Flagstaff and I'll introduce.
Yep, definitely. Yeah,
she would like that. She and her husband are both retired now. They raise Shetland sheep, which are little miniature sheep.
Oh yes, yep.
They just have a small place, and she's a weaver and a spinner, and she does all kinds of manual arts. She's a really interesting person.
Right.
Sure you would get along. But I hope that you'll turn this around and put this journey into somewhere like the speaking or courses and things that you can put out to inspire others.
Yeah, yeah. Because I just want to prove to people that you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to put up with it.
The thing is that once you divest yourself of the stuff, the house, the cars, when you divest yourself of the stuff that keeps you held down in that job, you're really free to do all kinds of things. The things you love.
Yeah. The stuff that I have kept is in a 1.5 by 2.1 meter lockup, and it's not full by any stretch. And to be totally honest, if I lost the lot, it wouldn't worry me. I've only kept personal stuff, things that have meaning to me, and I'd probably be a bit upset if I lost my bike. But a bike can be replaced.
Better one, sure.
Yeah.
I like the family pictures.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
but there's,
That would be the things that would upset me. Actually, would be the
yeah.
photo.
But honestly, I'm just having moved a few times now. I'm not that attached to furniture and knickknacks, and I have some of those, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't be that upset if I had to let them go.
yeah. Well, see, even these last 2 weeks, and I've been in very new places that I definitely never. I mean, this is my first trip to the States. Um, Sitting in the transit lounge at LAX certainly doesn't count. And of course, yeah, I've been doing some of the tourist things, and I did the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that sort of jazz. But only yesterday was I tempted to actually buy some form of souvenir.
Yeah.
And that was when I was up in Jerome, and we were in one of the galleries, and this lady did little not clay figurines, American Indian figurines.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just something about those that I came probably that close to actually wanting to buy something. And that's the first time. I mean, I've been looking at all this stunning jewellery and, oh yes, I would like that, I'd like that, I'd like that. But nothing actually made me go, oh yes, I really want that. And every so often I thought, oh, maybe I should actually buy some touristy souvenir. And then I'm going, why? I've only got to cart it with me.
I'm not going to make myself buy something.
No.
My,
and the only
colleague
thing
of mine, she downsized, sold her big house, and moved to a smaller house last year. And she had her son there, and she was saying, I'm going to get rid of this, and she want this. This is something you made or whatever. And he goes, oh yeah, I like that. Boom. He took a picture with his phone. He says, okay, I've got it. Well, I think that's a good way.
Yeah. The only thing that I have thought that I might start doing is collecting magnets of all the states that I've been to.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't take a lot of room in your luggage.
No, and it's just something that's a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no matter where I go, I'm going to have a fridge. So
I kind of have a feeling that by the time you're done, you'll have visited more states than I have. Because you've certainly seen more of LA than I have.
Right.
Spots that I haven't been. I kind of hit Disneyland, and that's the end of my trip.
Right. Yeah, I was staying down in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And so Twee took me down to Laguna Beach and up to Top of the World. And she asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, well, I've got to go to Mount Wilson. And she goes, where's Mount Wilson?
Yeah, I didn't know. Until you said, I never heard of that. And I have friends that live there too. I had no idea.
So she Googled it, and she asked me how I knew about Mount Wilson. And I said, oh, one of my fellow Toastmasters told me I had to go to Mount Wilson. And so we went up there. So the great thing about it was that a lot of the things that I did with Twee, she hadn't done herself. So she was seeing them for the first time as well. So that was really great. And then we thought, okay, we've got to do some of the touristy things.
Yeah, I like to do some of that.
Yeah. And again, amazing just how the universe just conspires. Because on Monday, my last day in LA, we'd roughly mapped out where we were going to go, or at least I think her sister had actually. And we left home just before 12, so we went and got some lunch. And then we headed to our first stop, and I'm trying to think where our first stop was. And oh yeah, that was the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I said to her, I want to see the Hollywood sign. I don't necessarily want to go to the Hollywood sign, but I just want to be able to go, I've seen the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
And so we did all that, and then we were heading to our next destination, and she goes, oh, we're going to be going past the Agape Spiritual Center.
Oh yeah.
And I went, oh cool, let's go have a look. And that whole day, everything just flowed. We LA is notorious for traffic. And we had virtually no problems at all with traffic, despite the fact that we ran into the LA Marathon. Everything just absolutely flowed. We got parking spots right where we wanted them. Neither of us liked crowds. And yes, there were people around, but there weren't the crowds that you'd expect at a lot of these places like Santa Monica or Venice Beach or the Walk of Fame, or there weren't the crowds.
It's a good time of year.
And it was just amazing how everything just fell into place and everything just absolutely flowed.
Yeah.
And the idea was that she'd drop me off at the airport about 8 o'clock in the evening. She dropped me off at the airport at about 8 o'clock in the evening, and we not only saw everything that we planned to do, we actually saw a couple of extra things as well.
Nice.